What's up, guys? Just getting set up over here. There's the link. Trying to get into the chat feed here. Just getting all set up. What we're going to do here, we're going to do some Masters Qualifier. So if you guys are in Master Division, want to see some free-to-play shots, this will be a good look at some of the KM balls, a couple of Zerks, and let's just see how this kind of shakes out. Overall, my first impressions of this setup, it's a pretty tough course, and more specifically, pretty tough setup as well, especially when you're talking not having maybe the best balls. This is pretty challenging, I would say. Win 4s, win 5 balls, really make this course a lot more manageable. With that being said, I can still get through it. So it is possible. You just have to kind of execute your shots at a very good level. Let me see if there's comments coming in. It seems like I'm still having issues with this YouTube live chat. There's one. Thanks, David, for showing up. I can see what you got here. Hopefully those comments start rolling in. So you can see my standard bag here. We're going to pretty much stick to a lot of Kingmakers. And Cataclysm, I'm going to use a fair amount in this one. I'd say it was at least 3 holes, give or take. So definitely important club. And let's just kind of dive right in here. Old bridge, check in on the bracket. The goal today is going to be to qualify. So, you know, I got to practice this one yesterday, just kind of made a couple mental notes and just trying to get a feel for this setup. That's how I know it is pretty tough. I would say in terms of technical, you know, difficulty compared to what I've done so far, this is probably the hardest setup to use KM balls. With that being said, I still think there's a couple good looks. So I definitely think there's going to be some quality to this, and I can definitely, you know, see a strong finish. You know, 8 and 9, some real potential there. You can see my bracket thus far. It's kind of looking like I'm not going to have to worry about qualifying as long as I put up a 12. Just judging on the scores thus far versus what's left. So let's jump in. I'm just going to go straight for play here. We will do a couple. I'm going to do a couple practice runs, but not on this hole. This is a very tough one. Like I was mentioning, you know, KM ball, this is a very tough shot here. So we're going to do max plus 10 for this one off the tee, which is essentially almost win rings on a Poc 8. So I'm not going to punch it through the calculator. But max plus 10 here. This is interesting to see. KM ball. This is a different approach to the way that I did it. So mine doesn't look like this, but it's very interesting to see Katana here. Off the tee. Let's see if it makes it. Not quite. So very, very tricky first starting hole. And you can maybe utilize that as kind of, you know, how well do you do on hole one could kind of dictate what you want to do with your round. So we're going to go about wind rings, one backspin or so. Something to the effect of this, and then max OP. Nothing fancy beyond that. As long as I'm about here, I'm happy. Oh, almost got that last one. So let's see how this one turns out. Just got over, just barely. I think this is it wound up just a tad bit shorter than yesterday. As you can see, what I was going for there is just kind of get it in play, give herself a good look here. At a Cataclysm. So it's a relatively safe shot. Worst case scenario, what? That clips the rough. And if it clips the rough, it just kind of trickles out. And we're just kind of going max, a little bit more max everything. I'm not too worried about this hole overall in terms of, you know, scoring on it. For this one, I believe I just did kind of max yesterday. Whatever that is, 10 rings. You can also see very similarly, trying to kind of keep everything a little bit short. Let's see what 10 rings look like. I do think this drive's a little bit shorter than I had yesterday. Yep. So I didn't use power yesterday, but we will today. It's a reasonable look. As you can see, it's not maybe as precise as we want, but with KM, I'd say it's a pretty reliable hole, easy to get birdie, and who knows, with the right amount of curl there. You can see the way that I was curling it. It was about, you know, 2 of my grids over. You can see what that looks like in relation to with the shot circle and everything. A little bit of overpower. The goal is to get that drive just a little bit farther, keep it out of overpower. So it's a really clean, easy look to where, you know, we at least get no risk to it. But in terms of precision, getting the drop, it could happen. It just didn't. But, you know, we gave it a good run. If we wouldn't have had to go into overpower, you know, I definitely think we could have had just a little bit more dialed in the net and maybe gave it a run right over the edge of the cup or something. Looks like my opponent here disconnected, so I definitely got somebody live. What's up, guys? I could see some guys trickling in here. Appreciate you, Adam, David, for reaching out in the chat. Like seeing a wide variety of guys in here. It's kind of cool. So we're just going to finish this one off. Get the birdie here. Like I mentioned at the top of this stream, the goal is to qualify today. So that's what we're shooting for. Nice little chest pickup for us to start off. For this one, free to play. This is one of the ones that I'm considering, you know, a decent look. I think we have a decent look for this. The only thing I've been doing is I've been starting off with this pot of gold. What it does is it starts me off on power 2 instead of power 3. I will use the KM ball for the shot. I'm just going to set up so I can do a nice starting point here. Let me get my club set up before I go in. We're going to try to, if as long as I can remember, to do a practice run too. And try to go practice here. So I really think this is a good look. There's a nice little funnel on this green, and if you can keep it right on that funnel, definitely a good way to get away with a value ball on this. So it's definitely one of the better ones, and hopefully we can get something positive going in the early going. Because I actually find a lot of these holes pretty challenging. I think hole 3, we're talking about hole 3 tough, 5 tough, 6 tough. It's a pretty daunting setup. So you really want to try to capitalize on some opportunities. We're going to go no movement here. And I'm going to use the min value, which is 10.2. So 10.2. And be right around here. And now I regret practicing because making that one twice, I don't know if that's going to happen. But you can see that the adjustment, it's pretty true. It works. I use, it's somewhere right around 8.3 to 8.5 backspin for me. Just a touch of left spin. You just get it on that funnel there. No movement, really easy adjustment. So it's a really good opportunity to get away with a KM ball and be able to get that one. That's only my second look at that. So consider, I just had one other revision. And that's the only reason I went into practice. If I would have had more confidence that this was definitely going to be right on line, I would have totally not did the practice because I'm a little worried of getting this twice in a row. But nice little funnel there. So there you have it. There's the ace for that one. And let's see if we can go 2 for 2. Opponent goes first. Basic ball start. I don't know if that was a mistake or... This is the way I see most people doing it. I'd say both opponents and plus a lot of my clans doing it this way. I have to kind of migrate away a little bit. It's a little too risky of a start point for me. But that one looks good. Yep, there it is. So let's see if we can follow suit. We just got this one in practice. Hard to go back to back, especially on a hole like this. 10-9, 9-2. No moving target. I'm cool with that. Let's hope for the best. And sure enough, 2 for 2. Have faith in the KM ball. So just be really careful with your pull and kind of do everything very similar. I'm using that min value with the +5, power 3. And you can see very nice results. Very easy KM ball shot there. Just a nice little hill. We got it with a 12 something and a 10 something, which is pretty much the full span of the range. What's up, Ken? How's it going? Good seeing you back again. Indiana, thanks. Let's keep the momentum. Hope to see if we can't keep some of this positive stuff going. Hole 3, I'm trying to even get a memory on what that was. You get the picture. This is my first time playing. Oh, okay. This is my first time playing a tournament on this course. I have played a bunch of these in Tour 11, but it's a little bit different. I got an idea of what I want to do here. Might as well keep my cat bag on, so I think I'm going to use that again. So we'll just go with this bag. KM ball. Oh, that looks good. Not the easiest hole. This setup is very daunting. I pulled this one off yesterday, but it was not easy. I didn't get the drop, but I was very close. So I definitely like my method for this hole as well. Let's just hope we can get some reliable drives here. So 10-4. So my method for this one is a little interesting, to say the least. Basically, I full extend the target, keep it close to there, keep it close to the wood, keep it close to the rough on the epoch-8. And then we're just going to go maybe 7 rings or so. You keep it short of all that rough, you get a nice look here. I think that's a longer drive than I had yesterday. I didn't study my shot, but I just don't remember it rolling out that much. It's a good starting point. The only thing, being a little bit closer, it's going to kind of change my hole up a little bit. So we are going to go B52. Sorry about your luck, Ken. The best advice that I have would be some kind of like ring conversion. It should be the same slice. You just need to really know what the bullseye is in relation and be able to just do some kind of equal conversion. So 84% I used yesterday, 12.3 adjustment. Let's take a look. I did a pin check on this. This is about 4 yards short of where I was yesterday. So I'm going to come in about 0.4 on that. Just coming. I feel like I had to just rush just a touch bit there. But basically I used my standard as about a pin check. Yesterday I was at +3. Today I was maybe 4 or 5 yards short of that. So even whatever I did, like I definitely feel like I had to rush my finger movements a little bit too much there. I was a little unprepared or talking a little too much, not focused on what I needed to do. Because I had definitely more a little out of sorts there on those actual pulls. But all things considered, a very nice look to get a nice opportunity for a drop. That one looks like it's going to come up short. Yep. Anytime it kind of slowly rolls off that hill, don't think it's going to get up the hill entirely. Yesterday, I was just to the right of the hole, so this time I tried to just kind of change my line just slightly and kind of like an overcompensation. Almost should have, like if I would have played yesterday's shot with the setup, it probably would have went in. I've had 2 really good looks at this, but we're just a little bit more precision on my ring pull. But I know that the method itself definitely works. It puts me there really, really close. So unfortunately, not able to get that one. Let's go into this one. Cat KM. We can set up our club ahead of time just to make sure that we're good. I use about 20%, pretty much max plus 20 for this one. We're going to go in and practice it. We're going to do the practice just because I want to get just a little dialed for this one. Yesterday, my shot wasn't bad, but I don't want this first attempt to graze the edge. If I can make just a small micro adjustment and get the drop, I definitely want to take the time to give this one a good go. Of course, I'm not doing the bump that a lot of the guys that I've already seen. So we're doing this a completely different method. It's safe. It should still be pretty reliable. I'd imagine this is going to be a bump shot. I don't have near the confidence to be able to pull off a 12 mile per hour 1030 pulling down into that bunker and everything with a KM ball. Plus, it might even go into min. Like I'm not even sure because of the extra power and everything. Might cause some problems. What's up, Mark? Thanks for showing up. Appreciate the shout out there. We'll do what we can. Hopefully, we can get another drop here. Of course, if you guys did want to, go back, we were able to get hole 2. Be close. Let's see what we can do. I use my blue ring on the rough here at the max line. Four rings. That's too much, man. So that wasn't as good as yesterday's, but that also wasn't the same amount of curl. I was trying to make a revision from yesterday. I might just make one more revision. I'd kind of like to give this one a good look. Yesterday, I was reasonably close yesterday. I tried to add curl, and obviously it's too much curl. So let me just go back in. I just want to take one more look at this, and I'm going to go back a lot closer to where I was yesterday and just do kind of a slight modification. See if we can get this just a tiny bit more dialed. Also, I want to make sure that my backspin is a full 1 bar. That one I tried to keep just a little bit light, so I was coming in with some speed, but I don't want that much speed. (10-4), small wind. I swore I pressed that in. (11-1). All right. Much better, much better. And that's very similar to what I did yesterday, but on the other side. So because this is like, but that just goes to show that was probably like 5 clicks inside that ball. And that actually seems to be kind of right where we want it. Maybe I'll just kind of split the difference. Maybe do like, I'm trying to just count my clicks of curl compared to my 1 circle that you see there. That 1 circle there is roughly about 2 bars equivalent of side spin. So I'd imagine you could almost do this with no curl, 5 side spin with a very similar line, very similar adjustment. It's very close with the 3 side spin. And what I'm going to do on the next one is just try to make, and one thing that I want to make a note of, that was what, 10-4. So that's like the smallest they could give me for a wind. I think maybe that's a good adjustment for like a 11-12. Ooh, it popped the hole. Jeez, that's brutal. Let's try to give this one a go. Of course, hopefully, grab the perfect ball. Let's hope everything works out. We'll try to, keep that in mind. We'll try to keep in mind that, that's a 10-4 wind, because I bet you 11 plus, the extra wind effect pushes that, much more towards the hole, and that's kind of what we want. So let's see if we can get it, or at least burn the edge this time. We can work through this correctly. $11.4, so this is like a mile per hour more than last time. And this is kind of what I'm mentioning about all this little differences. Just about the same, exact same. So unfortunately, not able to make the tweaks for that, to get that to go. But it's the safe shot. So with KM, you can see it's very reliable. Very nice, easy, straightforward. Of course, this also is very safe, but it requires you to use a Win 5 ball. So that's kind of the downside. And I'm assuming the power needs to be relatively low as well. So P2, that almost might be the cap, or you might be able to get away with 3. I'm not sure. But I know, in terms of keeping everything in the right range, or the correct range for not only the adjustment, but towards the max line and everything. So let's see if my opponent gets it. Of course, we had 3 looks at this total. I haven't seen my opponent get it yet. So, obviously they're giving it a very aggressive run, but nobody's dropping it. So I think it does, kind of speak volumes. If they're not getting it, I'm definitely not expecting to give that a solid run with KM balls. Very little tricky target to hit. What's up, Jason? Thanks for showing up and shouting me on the chat there. Hopefully everybody's rounds thus far are going well. I was hoping to be able to at least get off to a good start. So far, it's going. We got hole 2. So for those that, might want to go back and kind of check some stuff out. But we're still a long way off. And we got a lot of tough holes. I consider this one to be very tough. Hole 6 to be pretty tough. There's a lot of tough ones in here. But the goal is to qualify today. Sure. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I don't know why I did. Let's hope I get in range here. This is the way that I did it yesterday, was with a sniper. It is not the easiest shot to stay in range. And of course, we're going to use the max plus 10, which for me is about win plus half a ring, maybe a touch more. And hopefully keep this sucker in the fairway with the Zerk. Not the easiest of balls to get the drop on this one. But we're going to do what we can. So it looks like I'm first up. About 16 rings for my adjustment, which is max plus 10. Ah, great right. I hope that doesn't cost me, but I bet you it might. It did not roll out. So almost an unlucky, what was that, third bounce or something? Because it was so close to the very front of the rough. So if that would have been mid or even a little bit on the long side on that third bounce. But realistically, you know, you need that. I need that perfect ball. But it was also a little bit unlucky on that third bounce. We could have got away with that a couple different ways. It could have hit the fairway on the third bounce. We would have been good. It could have hit halfway up the rough. We would have been good. It's just that one spot just over that rough that kind of yielded this problem. Now we're going to have to scramble. I have not been here yet. Yesterday I was able to get, you know, very close to where that is, just a little bit shorter. Of course, I did not want that great ball. Let's see what we can do to kind of scramble out of the... that's actually isn't as bad as I thought. Assuming somebody probably actually knows what to do here. I wish I had more side spin than I do. I know that. This is not my favorite look. 11 rings. There's 5. Just trying to visualize where this sucker's going to land. And I also got to pray that this thing does not hit that tree, which I have no idea if it will. It looks like it doesn't. Let's just see how this works out. Oh, man, I expected it to get over a little bit more than that. I guess I should have just been just a little bit more aggressive, just a tad. I was definitely trying to keep it somewhat short. I didn't want it to run out the way that it did. A 3 side spin ball there would have been absolutely ideal. 3 side spin. I could have got a little bit more aggressive. Could have took off some of that top spin and kept myself out of trouble. It'd be nice for my opponent to drop this one. I'm not sure if it's a replay or not. I know it's a reasonable look. You do have a very clean look at this. Even with the Berserker, it's clean. Just a hair off, so I'm going to have to make this one. I would have preferred just keeping it out. You know, I was looking at the line to keep it short intentionally, and I wanted to make sure it got up here. Especially first look at this. I don't think I have enough tolerance here that I'm going to be able to get a great ball to drop. So let's just see what this looks like. Front of the green there. 10% or under, maybe 8%. 15.9, 8%. One ring straight up. I'd imagine that's pretty close. Sure enough, straight into the hole. We got our perfect ball. We scrambled out. So still good. We're still on track. This is definitely one of my worry holes, though. It's not the easiest thing to do with a Zerk. And of course, it was my bogus tee shot. I shouldn't have hit that. I definitely shouldn't have great right. If anything, I should have bailed out and just great left it. If I absolutely had to great ball it, I shouldn't have been early on that timing. Honestly, like for me, so back when I used to play, I used to never play with slow overpowered needle. So it's like a new concept to me. So like, I think I jumped the gun a little bit sometimes too much. But thankfully, we didn't lose anything there. Appreciate you guys shouting it out in the chat. So we are still in decent shape. This another very tough hole here. So we're gonna flop back the cat. Basically, we're looking at this as an outside albatross chance. But all things considered, this is just kind of like take the eagle and run, or whatever it is, or this is like a very hard 4 that your driver full 3 would. Now, I have seen some guys kind of intentionally taking a rough shot, which is an interesting approach. Probably something similar that I used to do. Would just be like take the safe way and just kind of stay out of trouble. So I kind of get that. But I also, at the same time, I don't want my perfect ball to potentially, cost me. And plus, I'm using cam balls mostly. I'd have to go berserk. It'd be super high wind. Not really interested in that. So we are going to do this how I did it yesterday, which is we go out to the left, basically go full cat everything. I gave it a reasonable look, but I guess you have to be very, very similar with your initial drive. Because just because I had a decent look yesterday, it's full overpower. Like what's hitting full overpower cat perfect ball, not the easiest to do. Max plus 10, max 15, somewhere in between there. I'm going to go pretty much wind rings for my adjustment. Very similar line to where my opponent's starting. Steven, I have free balls, but they're so few that I'm just going to burn through them. So because I'm doing so many rounds, I'm going to burn through so many more than I'm getting back. So I'm trying to get minimum, probably a couple hundred of each. And I have all these KMs, which really I don't need. So that's kind of what I'm doing. So very similar to the way that I was planning on playing this. Like I mentioned, in terms of my ring adjustment, it's going to be right around 12 straight up. Just a hair more. This is saying it's too aggressive. Did I do something wrong with my curl? I had this right in the fairway yesterday, so I'm not sure what I did wrong there. I obviously did something wrong. Because that was too aggressive. Overplay on the rings is the way that it looks. A little bit easier. It looks like my opponent here stayed within range, or very close to range. Yesterday I was not range, but no, that's still almost full. So we got a scramble again, which is basically going to mean thorn. That was interesting. I had never seen it roll out that much. That's the way I did it yesterday. It was a full blast for me. I was probably just a little bit farther than him, and we did work through it. Let's see what we can do here to get out of trouble. Doesn't look like we need overpower this time. We're just going to set up for thorn. Maybe wind rings or so. One to the right probably won't hurt. Let's just hope it doesn't short land. Looks like it's short landing on me. Probably because a little headwind. Was not prepared to have to make a thorn shot here. And this is not my typical play. I usually have, when I'm in tour, I usually always have Falcon. Let's just hope we can get out of here clean. Try to keep our momentum. 5 and 6, really tough holes for me. I mean, that's almost max club. Don't know how much this naturally plays up here. Usually when I'm in the fairway here, I'm a lot closer than this. I feel like the 6 is heavy. So I'm probably going to stay just a little bit light of that. 5-8 or something. Just see what that looks like. Should have just stuck very close to max. So we give a stroke back here. Par. Par, not the worst thing. Realistically, it almost keeps you, well, we need an Alba, but when you get par, it does give you tiebreaker preference on all the lower numbers, which is okay. It almost creates, you know, -9, -8, kind of almost the same. So unlucky there that we can't get through there, but let's just try to recover. I think we can finish strong. I think both 8 and 9, I have solid opportunities. This one is the biggest one that I'm worried about. Yeah, so you guys were talking about my balls. So right now I have 33 luminaries, 45 Kingslayers. I would burn through those in, especially if you factor in practicing. I have one account, so I can't practice on another account. So I have to use practice, which means that I have to utilize spare balls. This is no amount of balls that I'm going to be able to break even on getting back with my tournament finishes. So that's one of the main reasons that I'm just kind of holding them on, I'm just going to keep converting KMs because I have so many of them. So we're just going to keep doing what I can, try to pick up 10, 20 at a time of each is the goal. But, you know, it's not the easiest thing when you're just playing KM balls. It's very, very tough to finish high. Now there's potential, like, yeah, but you just gotta, everything has to just, you can't give anything back. And that's like a perfect example of, you know, especially something that can't happen on the weekend round, like that type of thing. So you have to be much more in tune and in line to avoid kind of staying away here. So we're going to go practice on this one. This is a very, very difficult shot for KM ball. %10 slider, eh? I definitely probably should have done that, Steve. I could have used that one. It looks so uphill to me. That's the only reason that I stayed pretty much what slider, like I basically played it like what I thought slider would be. No +10, which is probably somewhere in here. This is basically what I did on that shot. But I did it in my head. So I just like roughed it. If it wouldn't have looked so much uphill, then I would have definitely went, you know, essentially max for that shot, which is probably very close to what you're saying. So 6.5, 6.3 to 6.5 was probably all over that last pitch. Would have been nice to get that one. So we're going to do max 25 here. Very, very difficult one for me. $12.1. Just trying to get our bearings down for this one. See how this works out. It's left, okay? The max 25 looks like we're finally in line with kind of what I want. So that looks good. I would imagine that I should just try to shift the initial position. I feel like I should try to just go one more time here. This is practice, right? Yep. So practice. I think we should, I just want to kind of make one fine tune because it really would be nice to get this. I think there's a lot of potential to finish strong here. So let me just pop in one more time. I just want to make one because that was better than yesterday's. So it's progress. Plus 25 down. I'm kind of working that number just to get my distance right. Now that my distance is right, let's just see if I can make one more slight tweak and get this one in the realm of what we want. Yeah, Stephen, I'm actually thinking about doing that at some point. I like the idea, but I do want to get some more luminaries. I'd like to get luminaries to right around 100. But yeah, like I like eliminate illuminaries so I can get more Kingslayers because in Masters it seems like you get less Kingslayers, and that's actually what I want more than Luminary. I find that to be the better ball, and you get less of them. So a little frustrating. 12-3 this time. That doesn't seem like it's rolling. Oh man, it's still way to the left. I think I should just give up on this and just say they'll just take the birdie. I mean, the fact that it's out of the bunker, I feel like I should just consider it a win. Just the can ball, 16 some rings, like this is just too crazy of an adjustment. I need to just accept defeat on this, and it's only a qualifier. If this was the weekend, maybe I'd be like, yeah, this is a good chance, but it's just a qualifier. So we'll give it third time's a charm here. Just take my birdie and run unless some miracle I can. I mean, it's baffling to me that that went to the exact same spot. I completely changed the spin. Yeah, so I was at 3, and then I went to 2, and it went to the same exact spot. So I'm gonna do, yeah, I'm gonna do basically what you're saying, Steve, more or less. 10, especially with 10-4, because this is a smaller wind. I feel like it's going to definitely roll out a little bit less than the last couple that I just had. So I'm gonna crank this up just a touch, about halfway. Let's just see what it does. 4.5-ish. So I don't want this super huge wind to cost me. I don't want to dump this in the bunker. Oh. Still not rolling out. It's going to stop short. But that's the best version yet. Basically, that's about 3 rings from the fairway edge, 3 rings from the bunker. You can see the spins as is, plus 15 on my start point. It's getting there. 4 more attempts and I might have had it. That one, oh man, it looked good coming down the hill, just off on the alignment. That's definitely an aggressive start. It's much closer to the fairway edge than mine. I'm kind of staying, as you can see, I'm getting so far to the left. I don't need to be any closer. So I just kind of staying away from that fairway edge, 3 rings over. And that was the first one. You know, I gave it a pretty decent run. Just needed a couple more iterations. And let's see if we can have some magic on the next 2 holes. I like both of these. As said, I got 8 yesterday, so I hope to follow suit and do that again. We're just going to jump right in. Yeah, I definitely think that's the goal, is to have you use up a lot of bowls in practice, which is you know, also one of the tough things for me when I look at, you know, what I have and everything. And that's why, you know, with so few luminaries specifically, I'm just not touching them yet. I just want to get those counts up. If I could just have one nice weekend, or one nice, there was one a while back. It was a little bit ago. And, you know, I feel like if it would have just aligned that I was in master at the time, it would have really fit my eye. But I've really felt, you know, some of these setups are pretty tough. This one specifically, I think this is the toughest one. This is the one that almost made me want to go straight to straight to the expert. So 16-1, I like a healthy wind on this one, so I'm glad to see that. This is actually bigger than the wind that I got yesterday on 9 with a no spin ball. It was the worst luck on 9. So I didn't even get a very nice look on 9 at all. Unfortunately. Agreed, Steve. This was a nice one. This was like best case scenario. You couldn't have got. You don't get much better than 16-1. Maybe 16-2, but I think 16-1 is like 19-0. So it was a very nice wind, for sure. But so ironically, like I was mentioning on 9 yesterday, I got a nice 16.0 with no berserker on. So obviously that hole didn't go too well. I was here yesterday. I kind of feel like I should just kind of reference this off of what I did yesterday. Let me see how sketchy this is here. It looks pretty good. So sure enough, we got an eagle. Would have been nice to not have that par. And let's see what we can do on 18. Hopefully, or 9. I could really use that. -3 on the card. So let's hope for the best luck that we can do, and just see how it goes. Still got plenty of globes in stock, so we get to have some fun on this one. But of course, if you lose the win lottery and you get a 16-0, it's not the easiest shot. Thanks, guys, for shouting out in the chat. We got that one, so that's a nice drop to have on the scorecard. GC Dave, thanks for showing up and following along with the chat. We've done okay overall, but really two really bad holes. I kind of and realistically they were not really warranted. Like it was just kind of bad plays on my part more so than anything. This kind of tells me there's no way they're going to give me a 16-0. So all things so far so good. So let's just see how it goes. I might just use his reference aim actually. Just kind of judge his spot on 17.6. That's pretty mid-center. That's a way longer drive than I had yesterday. Like with a 16-0, you can't land nearly that far. I mean, not even close. Try to make sure that I keep those 3 bars on, even if it results in me taking off a little spin. I think we'll be okay. This is a good camera. So all things considered good. Of course, I know nothing about this pitch, though. I was hoping to kind of just front top spin this one max and just kind of keep it off the ground as much as possible. Because it's going to be such a crosswind that I don't know if I want to mess around with playing a ton of wind here. So let's hope we can get this a drop. Let's see what my opponent does. That was a nice perfect ball. Nope. That is the same thing that happened to me yesterday. So I was in a very similar spot. I think it's adjusting up that hill. It's just causing you to go long. So you gotta do something. If you are in that spot and you try playing it that way, you gotta do some kind of correction there. So slider here. $25 or under. Four and a half rings, 5 rings. Let me see what 5s looks like, and I'll decide whether or not I want to do 5. 5 looks fine. Sure enough, there is the finish we wanted. 5.2. 5's fine. 5 works. The rings are so small, Steve. It's like 5, 6. You're in the ballpark. It's close. It really almost nothing changes. But we got it. So we finished strong at least. Would have been nice to do just a little bit better, but all things considered, looking at the card, it's not bad. We got that par on there. That was the worst hole I played, which is weird because I swear I did almost the exact same thing. I must have messed up my initial alignment or something, or did the wrong curl. It might have been too much curl, which I just don't know. So it's unfortunate about that par. Would have been definitely nice to have a clean side here, but all things considered, it's almost treated like a 15. Except for the fact that the people that have 15s, I cannot beat them. That's the only downside, but I should beat all the 14s. Or very close. So, yeah, we had a strong finish, some good holes in there, some good shots and some good ones to take away with KM balls. Considering that I got hole 2 back to back with KM ball, that just tells you should be using KM ball on that hole for sure. So it was a very nice, easy way. And if you can just make, just fine tune adjustments for, some of these holes, it's definitely manageable. And you can, do good things. So let's hope that, we can keep this trend up and that the setups aren't too hard coming in on the weekend. I feel like if this is a whole bunch of, I think this setup is the hardest one I played. So just to get where I got, I'm kind of happy with it. But I feel like some of the other ones, I just had more missed opportunities than this one. Because I really don't think there's a lot of great opportunities in this for KM. So anything that you can get, it's nice to get. But thank you guys for showing up and everything, and appreciate seeing you guys. We'll see what we can do about the opener or weekend round. Not sure whether or not I'll stream it or not, but we'll keep doing what we're doing, and I'll see you guys next time. So take care, best of luck out there, and see you guys.